Although gold diggers are still working the lead-contaminated earth, he's happy about the health center.
You can see family members coming to access healthcare services for their children under 5 years who were contaminated by lead poisoning and now receiving treatment and feeling much better. It's quite exciting for us.
Although little has been done to provide alternative means of employment, the government says it'll try to regulate gold mining operations in Shakira. Anti-corruption activists say they'll make sure that doesn't remain an empty promise.
And today, we end the show with another activist, Pupa Fumba, in South Africa, who believes that citizens have the right to know and protest democratic processes.
For months, activist Pupa Fumba has demonstrated against plans to build new nuclear power plants in South Africa. The government was planning to invest an estimated €70 billion in the plants, but the Cape Town High Court ruled that the plans were unlawful. The decision-making process didn't comply with constitutional standards. A victory for Pupa and his fellow activists from the Right to Know campaign. They want the government to rethink its priorities and invest in more pressing issues like supporting underprivileged communities.
We're here in solidarity, and also we say that away with nuclear deal, and then it is not going to compensate the issues that we are faced up with, such as water issues, access to patronage of sanitation, access to housing, and patronage equality of education.
Pupa heads to the Right to Know office. The group is one of South Africa's most active civil society movements. Pupa's been involved since it started in 2010. He and fellow activist Noma Mabayo discuss protest action and how to publicise the importance of democratic decision-making. The internet and social media may be the most popular ways of spreading information nowadays, but Pupa and his team rely on workshops and pamphlets. There's not much access to Google in poorer communities, says Norma.
South Africa is a very democratic country on paper, but when it comes to reality, people still demand meaningful engagement. The access to information is still not there. Freedom of expression in terms of accessing through media is still not there.
In 2010, the South African government tried to pass the Secrecy Bill, which would allow government officials to withhold information from the public without giving reasons. Thousands gathered before the Parliament in Cape Town to demonstrate against it. The Right to Know campaign was born. Even though the bill did get passed in 2013, it's not yet been signed into law. The campaign has some prominent supporters.
In August 2010, I signed on to the Right to Know campaign because as South Africans, we have fought so long for an open and democratic society.
Pupa is determined to fight for democracy. A day after the protest march, he hands out flyers in Cape Town's city centre on the hazards of nuclear energy. He's keen to prepare the ground for protests against future nuclear plans. Pupa is unfazed by any form of rejection. Growing up under apartheid and in a politically active family didn't leave him with much choice, he says.
The family that I grew up with, I've never been allowed a space whereby I cannot be an activist. So you become an activist because you are non-political affiliate, you know, and the issues that you speak on are human rights issues.
Pupa volunteers full-time for Right to Know, aiming for a truly democratic South Africa.
And that's all on Africa on the Move this week. Ensure you're making your own small impact that will create a ripple effect of change. Have a good week.
Nigeria spends about $8 billion annually on the importation of vehicles. Although in the 1970s, passenger cars and commercial trucks were assembled in Nigeria, but this didn't last for a very long time, as production capacity in the capital-intensive plants began to drop drastically by late 1980s, leading to losses for the assembly plants. Commercial truck plants were even more affected, with market demand declining from 36,000 in 1977 to 14,440 by 1981. Another local assembly plant also saw its annual production drop from 29,300 in 1981 to less than 1,000 in 1989 and in 2005. The once booming sector, which created mass jobs and economic growth, was largely affected by corruption, epileptic power supply, government inconsistency, and a drop in oil prices. This led to an increase in importation of vehicles into the country. In a bid to reduce importation and boost local production, the government set an automotive policy in 2014. But this has not been very effective, as reports from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that Nigeria imported over 1.2 million new and used vehicles into the country between 2012 and 2017. Plus TV Africa spoke with local importer Mr. Kunle on the effects of this policy and prospects for growing the automobile industry in Nigeria.
Thank you for having us at yours. So how long have you been in the business of importation of vehicles, and how easy has it been for you?
I've been in the importation of cars for the past 15 years. And when I want to talk about being easy, bringing cars from abroad, it's been fine, but we still have a little challenge. First, we face the challenge of government, and we face the challenge of exchange rate as well. So these are the two challenges we have.
The National Bureau of Statistics said that from 2012 to 2017, Nigeria has imported that both new vehicles and Tokumba vehicles, that's fairly used vehicles, we've imported over 1.2 million cars into the country. And then annually we spend $8 billion on an average, right, on importation of vehicles, which is very high. What would you say the reason for these high figures have been?
Nigeria don't produce car. If Nigeria produce car, I don't believe we'll be spending so much money on bringing car from other country to our country. So if Nigerian government can be able to produce Nigerian-made car, I believe bringing car from abroad will reduce.
And following the auto policy, which said that for new vehicles, the tariff on it would be 70%, and then the tariff on fairly used vehicles will be 35%. How did it affect your business? Did it affect your business in any way?
The 70% increasement of duty, the only area I can say it affect our business is because the average Nigerian, the average Nigerian camp that buy car from us, they don't buy like the way they used to buy because of the prices. When we bring car in, the car we sell for, like, for example, initially we used to sell this Corolla 2004 model for 1.4 million naira, but when the increment goes for 75%, the car go higher to 2 million naira. So, and as I said, the little Nigerian guys, men, women, that just start their life, that want to get family car, they go for Corolla, easily using car, you know, but they cannot afford it because of the tariff. The only help I can tell Nigerian government to do for us is to please reduce the tariff of the importation.
In a bid to address the deficit in the economy, the Nigerian government initiated the National Automobile Industry Development Plan with the aim to attract foreign direct investment, curtail the dependence on importation of vehicles, and promote local production of automobiles. The introduction led to an increase in import tariffs for vehicles, attracting international car manufacturers and leading to the resumption of small-scale vehicle assembly. Although Nigeria boasts of having the first made-in-Africa automobile brand, Innocent Motors, importers like Kunle still think it is not readily available for purchase.
If you are telling me about Nigerian-made car now, I can't tell you where the office works, and I cannot even tell you
I've seen one of the car. I only see it on the internet or on television. So that's the only thing I can say. If the man in question can be able to produce the car much for Nigerians to see, and he has a shop for it, a showroom for it, for people to come and have sex, to come and feel the car, I believe Nigeria we patronize Nigerian-made car than bring a car from up. Because one, I believe it's going to be cheaper than buying from abroad. Second, you are not exchange naira to dollar to bring new car. So it means you are buying a Nigeria used car with our naira.
He spoke on ways the government can be of help.
So how do you think the government can support importation of vehicles and also rejuvenate the already existing manufacturing plants that are in the country but are not fully operational?
If Nigerian government can say, okay, today we want all the government officials to be using Nigerian used car, Nigerian made car. So I believe it's going to even increase the level of production of Nigerian made car.
We have the Ajaokuta steel company, and I know that steel is a very important part of car manufacturing. How well do you think we've been able to maximize this potential and resource that we have here in Nigeria?
After Nigeria now, I don't think they know about what is called Ajaokuta. Even though they know about Ajaokuta, what did they produce? Nothing. We don't know. You understand? So government need to create awareness in everything they are doing so that the youth, okay, for example, some will say they went to school to go and read engineer, mechanical engineer. By the time they come out, nothing to show up on a mechanical engineer. They'll find themselves doing something else. And Ajaokuta still is there. So what's the company for? Is it not for the children that went to school to go and read engineer, to go there to go and do something? So everything still bounce back to government. If government really serious about the Ajaokuta stay, I believe Ajaokuta will produce a lot of things in this country. And many youth of this country will get something to do.
All right, thank you very much for having us at yours today.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, madam.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Benny Ark. The Ondo State government says Lassa fever cases are rising in the state because victims from the neighboring states are trooping to the state for free treatment. The state epidemiologist, Dr. Stephen Fagbemi, confirmed that no fewer than 20 people have been killed by the disease in the state. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Wahab Adigbenro, said that they are having a high figure because Ondo State is the only state that the treatment of Lassa fever is free of charge. This came as the Rivers State government confirmed that 2 more persons had lost their lives to Lassa fever. Meanwhile, the federal government has moved to prevent Lassa fever disease from spreading in the country by activating the National Emergency Operations Center in 8 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Meanwhile, 112 cases of the disease are said to have been recorded in Ondo so far. The cases were said to have been recorded in the Akoko Southwest, Ose, Owo, Akure South and Ondo West local government areas. 4 persons were on Wednesday confirmed dead and 15 others seriously sick following a strange disease recorded at Oye Obi in Obi local government area of Benue State. Anderson Egbodo, the newly president of Igede National Youth Council, disclosed this on Wednesday in Makurdi. It said that all victims developed the same symptoms of headache, internal heat, diarrhea, vomiting, stomach ache, weakness of the body, and swollen stomach. Egbodo said that the health authorities in Oju local government area had been briefed on the development. It confirmed that the state government had dispatched a medical team to handle the alleged epidemic. Egbodo called on the Benue State and federal government to urgently do all within their powers to arrest the situation. The State Commissioner for Health and Human Services, Dr. Sunday Ogbobo, confirmed the development, saying the ministry had already dispatched a team of doctors to the affected area to ascertain the nature of the disease. Also in the news, the minority leader of the Senate Eyinaya Abaribe has asked President Muhammadu Buhari to resign over the inability of the current government to tackle insecurity. Senator Abaribe made a call on the floor of the Senate saying the current administration has failed Nigerians. He said he's fully in support of the motion raised by Senate leader Senator Abdullahi Yahaya, which called for the restructuring, review and recognition of the current security architecture of the country.
Because we have to get to the root of this matter, I can only say one thing. Those who live by propaganda will die by propaganda. Mr. President, Nigeria did not elect the IG. We did not elect the Chief of Staff. We did not elect the Joint Chiefs. We did not elect the National Security Advisor. We elected the government of APC in 2015 and re-elected them in 2019. The reason why we re-elected them was that they continued to tell us that because they had the key to security, and the whole Nigeria voted them in 2015, and I agree with that. And I'm saying, Mr. President, when you want to deal with a matter, you go to the head. So we will go to the government and ask this government to resign because they can no longer do anything in this country. Mr. President, in conclusion, yes, Nigerians voted a government into power. And that government even said, if we don't perform, stone us. We are going with the stones to stone them now because they are no longer.
The presidency on Wednesday attacked Senate Minority Leader Eyinaya Abaribe for asking President Muhammadu Buhari to resign over rising insecurity in the country. It described Abaribe as an armchair critic who should be in jail for failing to produce Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, for whom he stood shorty. In a series of tweets last night, Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to the President, Malam Garba Shehu, said the call did not represent the opinion of Nigerians, adding that if anyone should resign, it should be Abaribe. Abaribe caused a stir in the Senate during the debate on the worsening insecurity in the country, when he recalled that President Buhari and the All Progressive Congress APC told Nigerians during their campaign they will make security their priority. There was a mild drama in the House of Representatives as the All Progressive Congress caucus of the House returned Honorable Alhassan Doguwa as the majority leader of the House. The Speaker of the House, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, broke the news to lawmakers as he swore in 6 new members recently elected during the just concluded Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) rerun polls across the country. Honorable Doguwa had his election cancelled by the Election Tribunal in Kano, but won the rerun polls. He resumes as a House Majority Leader.
I, put your name, do solemnly affirm that I will be faithful and true and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So help me God.
I will always say that you are the source of my pride. You are the source of the pride of my family. You are the source of the pride of my people, Doguwa constituency. You are also the source of strength and pride of my able governor that is seated here, who has suspended a lot of government businesses to come and say a very big thank you through me that you have done Kano a great honor. Your Excellency, I speak on your behalf that Kano people, not only the 4 million voting people, the generality of over 10 million people in Kano have extended their own big thank you through His Excellency the Governor for the honor and the regard you gave to the entire people of Kano State, and by extension to the 6 other states of the northwestern zone of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The APC caucus has agreed to return Honorable Alhassan Doguwa as the leader of the House. Alhassan Doguwa, you may take your seat as the leader of the House.
Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi said on Wednesday that a regional security outfit has been formed to protect lives and properties in the Southeast. Umahi broke the news in his capacity as the chairman of the Southeast Governors Forum, SGF. The forum said the need for a total re-evaluation of the security architecture in the region informed the formation of a joint security to ensure adequate security. Umahi spoke when he hosted the General Officer commanding 82 Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General LASSA Adigboye, at the Government House, Abakaliki. According to the governor, Southeast governors have written to the federal government on a joint security task force in the zone and that they are putting things together on the outfits launched to strengthen security in the region. He called for synergy amongst the Southeast states to tackle security. The governor added that there is great synergy between the security agencies in Ebonyi State and the state security outfit, Neighborhood Security Watch, a development he noted has made Ebonyi one of the most secure states in the country. Meanwhile, Abuja residents have expressed mixed reactions over the death by hanging judgment passed on husband killer MARYAM SANDA, while some said Mrs. SANDA deserves the sentence handed down by Justice Yusuf Alilu of the Abuja High Court. Others think consideration should have been given to a 2-year-old child who was born during the 3-year trial. Our correspondent Amadin Uyi reports.
The trial commenced in November 2017, following the killing of her 37-year-old husband, Biliamin Bello, a case which sparked national outrage. MARYAM Bello, popularly known as MARYAM SANDA, had been a frequent visitor to the High Court in Abuja, as some others were also joined to the suit, who the police had 10 fellow collaborators, following forensic investigation which alleged evidence tampering.
We felt others who attempted or who took part in tampering with evidence were also joined as an accessories after the fact.
Rights groups advocating for an end to violence against men also took interest in the case, as they claim more men were becoming victims of domestic violence. Following Monday's High Court of the Federal Capital Territory conviction, trial judge Yusuf Halilu says every available evidence had proved beyond doubt that MARYAM SANDA fatally stabbed her husband to death in Abuja on November the 19th. This, however, has generated different reactions among Nigerians.
The judgment is somehow harsh. I may say there are some ingredients of draconian laws there, because considering the interests of the family members, the judgment that judgment should have been commuted to homicide, which could have, in other words, resulted in imprisonment, life imprisonment.
There's nothing about it. The law has to take its course. But the lady just did mistakes to take law into her hand, and that is what exactly will happen to anybody who takes law into her hand.
To me, it serves her right, because we are gradually moving towards justice in this nation. The era of killing somebody and then you use your connection, you use money to go, is fading away. And if it is rightly executed as the case was pronounced, the judgment was pronounced, I believe that other people will take correction.
In the real sense of it, I know that justice was served, but to me, I think she should be shown mercy, truly speaking. And I wish something could be done about it. The deed has already been done, and of course she made a very grave mistake, but I believe that she could be shown mercy, and of course it will serve as a deterrent to others who might want to do something sinister as she did.
It is a normal thing, and it is constitutional that if you kill, that it's a murder case. So what do you expect of a murder case? Except it can be changed to manslaughter, then there can be other cases. But this is a murder case purely. So I think the judgment is fair.
She actually deserves a judgment in the sense that, according to the Bible, the penalty for death is death. So I think what the verdict, assigned to her, I think she's worth it.
Amadin Uyi, Plus TV Africa.
The news will continue after the short break. We'll be back in a moment. And now across the African continent, Ivory Coast Health Ministry on Wednesday said the suspected case of coronavirus in the country had tested negative. A student who had traveled from Beijing to Abidjan over the weekend had shown flu-like symptoms, coughing, sneezing, and experienced difficulty breathing. In a statement, the Ivorian Health Ministry said the tests by research institutes in Ivory Coast and France had come back negative for the virus. According to the ministry, the 34-year-old student who was quarantined while tests were carried out is being treated for symptoms and is recovering well. Measures have been introduced in 2 African states aimed at stopping the spread of the new coronavirus, joining countries worldwide who have imposed restrictions since the disease surfaced in central China last month. No verified infection has been reported to date in sub-Saharan Africa, but elsewhere countries have stopped flights to China and airlifted their citizens out of the area where the virus emerged. Equatorial Guinea on Tuesday quarantined 4 travelers who arrived from Beijing, the government said. The 4 had arrived aboard on an Ethiopian airline flight at the airport in the capital of Malabo, the government of the small Central African state said in a statement on Wednesday. China's National Health Commission announces the latest figures for diagnosed Wuhan virus cases and says infants and children affected show less severe symptoms than middle-aged and elderly people. On Monday, the Prime Minister's office had announced that all passengers from China will be placed in quarantine for 14 days. Up next is our foreign news.
Mouth. We have 15 public hospitals to make them affordable.
In the whole of Africa, we are bigger. You know, Nigeria, we sleep, eat, dream, fashion.
Those with the financial backing don't see fashion as an investment, which makes no sense.
If they do it for free, they won't have money for the next case.
Mona Lisa is about real life and real lives, yours and mine. Make a date with Mona Lisa, and together, let's ensure that the important stories get told.